Okay, so I have a friend. He posted that he thinks that the George Floyd murder was fake. He's turning it into, or someone has, and he's bought into it, another Sandy Hook conspiracy, which, if you remember, people were accusing all of the victims and everything that happened there as all being fake and rigged by the government or by some shadow cabal entity. And anyway, so it's not clear here, but it does get clear later on. Someone says they thought the whole thing was scripted, but here's a video that the one who posted this originally said this was their evidence source, at least, that they said you need to watch the spot in this live stream and it's enough evidence. He says, I have videos of it all. Badges on the cops don't even match. He just laid there, not even wiggling for his life. Dude just sat there knowing it was recorded. He didn't even have his knee on the same place the whole time, and it looked like he was propping himself up with his other knee. George and his brother are Freemasons. The paramedic gave him no medical attention. The paramedics were cops with bulletproof vests and a radio. They distracted the fire truck from finding the ambulance. The guy who did the autopsy report is the same guy who did O.J. Simpson's and Jeffrey Epstein's. Hello? I don't see how people fall for it. They just get so wrapped up in emotion. Also, afterward, the same type of incident occurred in 3 other cities where cops had their knees on a black man's neck. So there's a lot to unpack here, but he pretty much says already right here all the evidence that he claims is in this video. I tell him that what he's saying is disgusting. I'm pretty pissed off about it, but he says this is the truth, and I have all the videos and have watched them several times. I am not living in an echo chamber and have considered all viewpoints very carefully. Okay, and then he cuts and pastes all the information. Did I watch it? I go and I watch it. It's in a 3-hour stream. This is a 3-hour stream. Do you see? 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 7 seconds. And this dude's got almost 1 million views on this, and I saw nothing but fire emojis and all these people affirming what he's saying and thanking him for speaking the truth. So we're just going to close that out for a second, and we're going to click on it again so we get to the beginning. He fortunately timestamped it for me. So we're just going to click on it, and we're going to watch and hear these arguments. And I have put markers at different points and answered each of his claims. So this is it.
But we're not going to allow y'all.
I apologize for the swearing. I have edited it in my quotes of him, but he is going to speak freely, and I just apologize if you have kids. Maybe you can put in headphones if you're listening on your phone, or go to a different room or something. I feel like this is really important, though, because this is what people do for their research most of the time, and I get really angry, but I should understand that a lot of people haven't gone to school for research. They didn't really pay too much attention in those classes, and they don't actually teach how to research and write and form arguments based off of research and making claims of fact and claims of value in order to do it properly, so that you aren't overreaching and you are using verifiable and credible sources, or just a source for its own credible purpose or the ability in which you can use it. So yeah, which is what I do. Like, that's what I do for a job. So okay. So here we go. This is me trying to show you how to do it properly by showing you an example of how not to do it. Yes.
To go up there and start causing chaos and confusion. It's just not gonna happen.
And what he gotta realize is it's agents. But he probably never even heard of the deep state. Now let's get to what we all been waiting for, right? Because now that we've proven that agents are influencing chaos in this fucking country, now we have to prove that the George Floyd shit was indeed a psyop. Okay? Now let's just run through the footage, okay? And another brother did this investigation, so I'm gonna keep his audio in here with the video because I don't steal people's work.
So I just want to point out in my first point here that he admits that this is someone else's research, and for all we know, that could be not just second party, but third party in this research. So it's good for him to point out that someone else already did this and he's just taking it and then running with it. But you should always, always, always try to find the first original source of material. Always look at the source material and the original source of the research, because you have to see if there has been any manipulation or any falsified things. If your original premise, if your original evidence is tampered with, then everything else falls. So you really need to have the right information and make sure that it's right.
Now, with that being said, let's keep it pushing. Pause. Now, I'm going to show y'all what he's talking about. There are 3 officers on this man, right? Now, you didn't see that in the video, but there's 3 officers on this man.
So I would just like to point out, because my friend on Facebook decided to say, why couldn't he just get up? Well, right there in the very video that he used as a source, from that camera angle, you can see, at least at this point in the event, that there are 3 officers holding George Floyd down on the ground, not just one. And I don't know if they remained there. I know that Officer Tao, ex-Officer Tao, was standing aside. So for all we know, those other officers are still there while he is in distress for the next several minutes with a clear officer's knee on his neck.
Now, here's the thing. Where the fuck are the people at that was originally recording over here? Now, for anybody who does real research into the George Floyd case, you know they say that something magically happened to the camera footage for at least 7 minutes. So where the fuck is the unaccounted 7 minutes of camera footage? And what the fuck happened to it? What happened to it? What happened to it? What happened to it? Now watch.
Okay, so he's asking about these 7 minutes. He seems to think that there are 7 minutes of unaccounted for footage. And he's saying if anyone's done real research, they'll know that there is unaccounted for footage. So as far as I have seen, we have all the footage we need. There is footage that we wish we had, but that footage is not missing. The thing is, I pointed to a Washington Post video that they put out. Now, my friend decided to call it the Washington Compost, and he thinks that they are completely unreliable because Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and we all know, yes, at this point, that there's 6 major corporations that own 90% of the news media out there. That is true. But because Jeff Bezos has a $600 million contract with the CIA, my friend seems to think that that means that the Washington Post is completely unreliable and manipulated. The thing is, if it were manipulated, then they wouldn't actually be able to make money anymore. It would come out and then everyone would look at them like Fox News. But whatever, let's just say that they are infiltrated by the CIA because of that contract, which is over something completely different with Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Companies can own each other but not get involved in the way that they function, which is very important if they want to actually keep making money with that business. Let's say for this claim, I mean, Jeff Bezos, yes, he definitely has a contract with the CIA with Amazon, but what about Facebook? There's some stuff you could read on that. What about Google? I mean, you're using Google for your research. The CIA's job is to collect information. Like, that is what they do. Now, they are supposed to be restricted on how they do that because we're supposed to have privacy and things like that. But corporations and social media and all of that with cookies on browsers and a whole bunch of data mining companies, and those companies either selling the information to or are owned by the CIA. So, I mean, to be fair, the CIA has contracts with everyone. So I don't know why you're going to shoot down the Washington Post, but then say that this guy is a reliable source. We'll see how reliable he is. You kind of have to look at his information and how he does his research. But honestly, shooting from the hip is not a good way to do it. So the reason why I bring up this Washington Post video is because you can see they have actually gone through and they have spliced together all the footage. And what you will notice, so this is from the convenience store, and you can see George Floyd on the ground, and he does not look like he is doing well. He is handcuffed, and he's already having issues. Yeah, I'm sorry, what was the look on his face? He's not doing well, and either that's the way that the officer is moving him and trying to force him to move, or it could be that he is already having a medical emergency. This is before they even get way over here, which is where the incident actually happens.
The sidewalk in front of Cup Foods.
So not going well. Then the thing that happens is, look, a police car gets stationed right in front of them. So yes, we can't see for a few minutes what is happening, but we do have the timestamps, so we know when everything is happening. And yes, any other footage that is missing is footage from body cams that has been redacted or they aren't giving us, but we know it's there. It is all accounted for. We just know that the cops are not being transparent and giving us that other footage, but we have enough footage to understand what is going on and to clear up any of the confusion that this guy has. So I encourage you to watch this Washington Post video or one from another news network that does the same thing. There's quite a few of them out there. I think the New York Times does one too, but I like this one best, not because it suits my fancy, just because I think they did it well and it is very clear. And there is timestamp and metadata too. So that's just something to think about.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this.
3 officers have Floyd pinned on that. There go the circulated video.
Where the fuck is them other people at? Where's them other people at?
Okay, so this is the first real point, and my answer is very simple. They aren't there yet. The people are in this video, but they are not in this video, and he thinks that is conspiracy. He thinks that means that is an inconsistency, but what he is not understanding, which is the most obvious answer, is that this video was taken first, and then the guy is moved along by the police because he is like the first guy to walk by and see it happening, and the other one starts as the other people start to gather just moments after this one ends. When something like this happens and there are 4 cops and a single civilian, they can get intimidated and will often leave, which is exactly what happens here. They tell him to leave and he's probably afraid and he leaves. But once enough people see the event and stop, in this video there are quite a few people there, you're wondering, oh, why aren't they leaving? Well, because there's 3 cops on George Floyd and there's only 1 cop standing here, and so if he messes with one of them, if he starts handcuffing them, or if even a couple of them come over, but there's more people, there's more bystanders than them, they could just walk away or run away or, avoid. So it's more likely that they're going to stick around, especially as it gets worse and worse.
Now look, when you come to this angle, you see the people recording, right? Now here's the thing. The person who's on the cell phone right now, right? That's recording. Why they on his neck? Why the fuck are they not?
I would like to point out something else that is missing. Not just the people are missing from here. The stream of urine is missing. If you noticed in this video, when they scroll past George Floyd laying on the ground, being crushed underneath, there is a stream of urine coming from him. And in this video, it is not. So even apart from having the metadata from this video, you can tell which video came first. There is nothing here. There is a stream of urine in this video the whole time. It doesn't just evaporate. No, it's there. And then this one, it is not. So which one came first? Yeah, and he somehow thinks that this is something he caught. I think he might be high.
In this scene. Why are they not in this scene?
I just told you.
Why are they not in this scene? Now, another thing that nobody noticed is that the paramedics are not paramedics. They're police. So this was planned. So this was a planned hit at the minimum.
One thing I want to point out right here is he just said because the paramedic is really police, that it is automatically a planned hit. Why would the conclusion to this claim of fact be that it is planned? There are numerous, more likely conclusions that you could draw instead, like they are trying to cover their butts because they just killed a guy and they need someone in-house to take care of it. The thing, though, is his claim is they are police officers. So that was me just humoring him. But as you can see, that is a more likely scenario than jumping all the way to this is a hit. This is a planned hit at the minimum.
If he's really not dead, it was planned. If he really is dead, this was a planned Freemasonic hit.
Like how? And so now it's somehow attached to Freemasonry conspiracies then. How does someone jump to such a difficult to prove scenario with no evidence? Oh, but he says there's evidence. The evidence would be the cops. It's still not enough evidence even if they were cops. So let's see what he says are cops.
I'm going to show y'all in a minute. But look at this. Let's skip through. Now look, when the paramedics pull up, right? Let's pause. Right here. See when the paramedics pull up? That is a fucking cop.
Okay. So we see someone in a tan uniform, brown khakis, and a vest, and you can see a radio on them. So this is what he thinks is a cop. The funny thing about that, with any bit of research, you could just go and look up here. I pulled up a couple pictures for you. Does that uniform look similar? Here, it's easier to tell, right? Paramedic. This is a Hennepin County paramedic. You can see Hennepin on his hat, the same county. Here, let me show you another picture. Oh, yep. This is a little clearer. You could probably even see that from your phone if you're watching this on your phone. So this is their uniform. Oh, look, there's even a badge for a paramedic. It says paramedic across the badge. Okay, but what about the vest? The funny thing is, it's not really a funny thing. It's more of a common thing. It's common now for paramedics, EMTs, to actually wear vests in communities with higher gun violence statistics. So for him to just jump in and say these are cops and now using that as his primary evidence for why this is a conspiracy, a deep state conspiracy. Sorry, let me let him talk a little bit longer.
That's not a paramedic. Who the fuck is that?
That's an EMT. That's a paramedic.
Fuck is that? So we know that the mayor of Minneapolis is deep state. We know that the killers is deep state. So could it be that they all conspired to do?
Yeah, so deep state. And I just want to show you if you think that it's not clear. So that video wasn't very clear because, you know, once again, it's on a smaller screen and then it's on my screen. But this is actually the original footage, although it had to be uploaded by someone else. And you can see in several scenes all the stuff. Oh, he has a radio? My friend said that that was an indicator that he's also a cop because he had a radio. Do you think that EMTs don't have radios also? How do you think they carry on with their job? They have to have radios also. That is a ridiculous thing to say. Yeah, these are paramedics.
Name tag, bitch.
I love that lady. The whole thing is, this is not a conspiracy, but it's funny how you can take things that you think are evidence and interpret them a certain way. See, notice, that's a trail of urine. And to take this and to try and say it's a conspiracy that he's not really dead. Did you guys notice in the video all these people who are responding? They all think he's great. So at this point, he said this is a deep state conspiracy without blinking or taking a moment to do any further research. And now there are almost 1 million views. Almost 1 million views and an innumerable amount of fire emojis. Just, I can't even count how many fire emojis are in here. Like, people love him. Yep, fire emojis. Keeping it 100. Yep. This is shameful. My friend also did mention an argument about they had a code 2. They had already called for a paramedic.
Dispatcher called for an ambulance to the location citing a code 2.
On to Minneapolis, Cup Food. 3759 Chicago Avenue, code 2.
So there's a code 2 and then it escalates to code 3. Code 2, for your understanding, means it's an emergency where time is critical, requiring immediate response by the ambulance provider without red light and siren. So they're trying to keep it cool because whatever. See, now I'm overreaching. It is an emergency, but the ambulance is supposed to come without a siren. Then it escalates to a code 3, which is the same exact thing, but with a siren and the red lights. So they probably call early on because he's showing clear signs of a medical emergency. He was crying out for a medic, and bystanders noticed his nose was bleeding. There's also the trail of urine. If you actually watch all the footage, he is clearly having a medical emergency from well before they started trying to get him in the vehicle. The peculiar thing is when they did release footage from the body cams, they actually blocked out George Floyd in that footage as if they are protecting him. He is dead. You're protecting yourselves. He was showing signs way back here. He was already starting to panic, and who knows what that can do with adrenaline. If you aren't healthy, or if you're having medical issues, if you're freaking out because your entire life you have had it just pounded into your brain that once you get put in a police vehicle, you are done for and you're going to prison. This is the end of your life. You aren't going to be treated fairly. What would that do to you? Try to put yourself in his shoes. It's enough. It's enough to put you into a medical condition. All right, so I wasn't able to go back to the original post. The video was taken down by YouTube just about 10 days after this. And then I was also blocked from this group, and my friend had unfriended me. And so we're friends again, kind of. We just don't talk. But fortunately, I did copy this into a PDF, so at least I have some of the correspondence, which is important for what we were talking about. So first off, here's the video. It's obviously going to look a little bit different. So this is the day that I copied it. This is just the day after the original post to the group. As you can see yesterday, you'll see that it's a little bit funky. I've redacted some names off here. So here's my initial response, and it's the same information that I was using to explain the video that we looked at together. But then here's some responses. So you will notice that for my friend, it wasn't enough what I said. He was not happy about it at all. And he brings up more information that would correspond for him to point to the Masonic connection. So he says, why is the gas price 99 cents? Why is 66 written on the garbage can? And why did it happen on 33rd Street? So these are all supposed to be significant numbers for Freemasonry. He's got a whole bunch of other stuff here. He just overall doesn't understand what I said because he didn't really try to consider what I said. Yeah, then he just starts spamming me with more videos, and I'm trying to explain to him what's going on. What does 33rd Street or 99 cents have to do with anything? So I come back to this later. But the most important thing that I cover here is this didn't happen on 33rd Street. This happened on 38th Street. And I just went on Google Maps and checked out that food cup place, and it didn't match with 33rd. This is what 33rd looks like, and this is what 38th looked like. So I pointed out the discrepancy, that you can even go to the street view and see that it's clearly not 33rd Street. So that kind of dismantles one of the numbers that he cared so much about, as if that's real evidence. Then yeah, I get called a Freemason a bit just because I'm questioning them. It's really nice when people start calling you names. Here I actually found the street view where, sorry, I didn't find this, my wife found it, and then I screenshotted it and showed them. It wasn't the gas or the diesel, but it was the coffee. That was 99 cents. And there is a 99 there technically, but what does that mean? What is the point of that? How is that important? They bring up the trash can, but when I looked at the trash can, it was just artistic swirls, and they said that it was 66, or that was 2 sixes, a 6 on each side of this. And so if your biggest claim to it being a hit is that you can find random numbers, I mean these specific numbers, you can find numbers everywhere. Go into the gas station and you should be able to find 99s everywhere, right? Something could be $1.99 or 99 cents or $5.99. I don't understand how that is something that's supposed to be so significant for some kind of symbolism that's going to be your strongest evidence. That's not evidence. That's you grasping at horoscopes. It is a good thing to put out information about injustice. I think we should be carrying cameras and we should be taking footage anytime we see something that is fishy or wrong. But if you put out false information, you are doing more harm than good. And so for all these people who are paying him and encouraging him, look at how many of these people are now going and they're ready to spread it. All these people who are in approval are now going to go and spread this information. It's going up. This is going up higher and higher. We're almost to 1 million now, even just as I've been talking. Here, let me refresh.
But we're not.
Yeah, over 1,000 more views. And I'm not seeing anyone saying, oh, this is a lie. No one.